I did this video last week where I shared with you that I sold all my Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, NVIDIA, and AMD, and basically went to cash other than my biotech, some oil stocks, some liquid natural gas. And as in always, you then question yourself, but then two things happened this morning that confirmed what I believed was going to happen is, in fact, going to happen. And that was an interview I saw with Jim Cramer, recapping his interview with the CEO of FedEx, and his statement in the interview saying China's worse than we thought it was. And then the video I watched, and I'll share with you, Germany is taking over the refineries which belong to Russia in Germany. The world is about to explode, and you need to know about it.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
I've been involved with the stock market for most of my adult life. Retired financial advisor, retired in 2005. I've only gone to cash one time up until last week, and that was in 2019 when I saw the national debt growing uncontrollable, and I thought that it had to rectify itself, and it would do so in the stock market. As it was wrong. The fact is, we went into further debt as a result of the coronavirus. But I was sitting there in March of 2020 with cash, and I saw the market go down some 20%, and I bought in. And before the year was over, my portfolio was up 68%. So as I move forward and as we move into where we're at now with another drop in the stock market because of the overexuberance of pumping $9 trillion into the money supply, increasing the money supply by 40% in 9 months, inflation had to happen, and that adjustment had to happen. And I was okay with that, and I thought, well, we'll get through it, and I'm just going to hold my big tech stocks and be okay with it. But then I saw what was happening, driven by two guys, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, and I said, this world's about to explode, and I got to get to the sideline and see what happens. And as it turned out, it happened in a matter of a week. We have a situation where the two of them have gotten together. Why did they do that? Because Xi Jinping has to go before the Communist Party in October and explain to them what he's done in his prior 2 terms and what he expects to do in the future. And a big part of that is that he's brought them to a real estate crisis. He's brought them to an imbalance in their demographics. He's brought them to a situation where he's got the United States threatening to go to war with him if he makes a move on Taiwan. So he's kind of backed into a corner. And so his meeting with Vladimir is basically to determine, I believe, what he does next. And then I hear Jim Cramer's interview, and I want you to watch it here because he's going to tell you that the CEO of FedEx is saying that we're not moving the merchandise we used to. We're still flying the same number of planes over to China to pick up the goods that we were for Christmas, and they're coming back half empty. And so our costs are up and our shipments are down, and the stock dropped 20% today. So watch this interview and see if you don't agree with me that my assessment in the past of what's happening in China is accurate. They don't have the people. They have more real estate they need, and the demand for their products is going down. Listen to what Jim has to say.
Jim, I've been waiting all morning to talk with you about that incredible interview last night with Raj Subramaniam, the CEO of FedEx. I mean, this was kind of astounding. It has set the tone for the markets today. Just what's your take after talking to him? Is this a FedEx problem? Is this a broader market problem?
Yeah, I think 70% macro, 30% FedEx. They do have a cost problem on the regular Federal Express business, but it made my jaw drop. It was one of those interviews, his first one, where he just said, "Look, I don't know what's the matter with China. It's worse than before. Europe is deeply involved with the cost structure and how little they have after they spend on their electric and heating bills, and that's because of Russia. The United States is a little more positive one, but still not exceptional. And the worldwide recession, Becky, was. I put the words in his mouth. I was hoping he would say no. So, I think the market should be down. I think the stock's right.
The 20% decline is jaw-dropping in itself. I mean, still trying to figure out the implications from all of this, but that is a re-rating overnight, like you can't believe, just in terms of the multiple.
Yeah, it is overnight because the meeting was June 29. They raised the dividend. Now, he did say he's continuing to buy back stock, and it's obvious they're going to take out costs. They gave you about an 8-point menu where they can take out costs, but they can't take out costs fast enough. They're flying too many planes, half full from China or less, and that's that would be like the apparel that was going to try to make it for the holiday season. And then after the holiday season, they just kept flying those planes, and those planes were really hurting them. I do think, though, that the macro is very much in evidence. And when I actually said, I hope J-Pal listens, because this was a wake-up call. There are many, many problems around the world. And just because we're better than the others, that does not make us good. And so I think that anyone who listens to what Raj said last night cannot feel the same about the U.S. economy as you did yesterday before it.
Then after I saw that, I read an article that said that Germany is taking over the refineries that are owned by Russia in Germany, that they're confiscating them. And I thought, when was the last time I heard of anything like that? And I was reminded of the book I'm reading by Winston Churchill about the start of World War II. And that's what Hitler did. But here in this case, it's Germany taking possession of assets that are actually owned by Russia to protect themselves from Russia shutting off the oil and the gas coming into Germany for this coming winter. So Germany has moved into a survival mode and become extremely aggressive and offensive to Vladimir Putin. Now, what I think will happen is if I'm France and I've got a similar situation, or I'm Poland and I've got a similar situation, well, I'll do the same thing. This is going to create tremendous tension over in Europe and Russia, and I've got to be in a position to take advantage of it. We'll watch this video that I was able to find, and I'll show you where the article is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what do you and I do in a cause and effect. This is what caused, what's the effect, and how do I profit off of it. Watch this video on what Germany's doing.
Germany has taken the local subsidiary of Russian oil giant Rosneft under state control. The move on Friday includes the PCK facility in Schwedt, a key fuel source for Berlin and beyond. Rosneft Deutschland accounts for around 12% of German oil processing capacity. It has tested Germany's resolve to end Russian oil imports as part of European sanctions that come into effect at the end of this year. The Economy Ministry said the new decision enables the preservation and future of the Schwedt site, the country's fourth largest refinery. The trusteeship is Germany's latest move to support an energy industry reeling from the effects of the war in Ukraine. Berlin said this week it would increase lending to energy firms which are at risk of being crushed by soaring gas prices after Russia cut supplies to Europe in response to sanctions. The government has also put SEFE, formerly Gazprom Germania, under trusteeship. German utility Uniper said on Wednesday that the government may take a controlling stake, as an earlier $19 billion rescue package was no longer enough. Government sources had said before Friday's announcement that all Russian oil supplies could be halted.
So that's how my day is going. I've never shorted stocks in my life because I never really believed that the world was going to go down and I needed to get on the other side of it. But I have now. I own YXI, and it is a short on China. And I've made a little bit of money, but I don't think the world really understands the complexity of how bad China is right now. And I think the CEO of FedEx gave us a inside look that the merchandise just isn't coming, and their situation, their real estate situation is terrible, and it's going to reach into our banks and affect the world's economy. Then you've got, I'm also then shorting the NASDAQ market because I think they're going to take the hardest hit as the effects of what Russia is doing spreads across Europe. You've got to believe that if Germany gets away with taking possession of assets that belong to Russia in their country, and they get away with it, and Vladimir doesn't drop the nuclear bomb on them, everybody else is going to do the same thing. And the tension is going to get there, and they're literally pushing Vladimir into a corner so that he has to make a decision. Now, whatever his decision is, it's not going to be good for the stock market. It's not going to be good for the NASDAQ market. So that's why I went and bought today SQQQ. I bought it for around $50.30 a share. I see an opportunity if next week the fervor slows down a bit. There's a gap in there at $48.90, so I'll add to my position. The other thing that I think, I own some Occidental Petroleum. I bought it because of Warren Buffett's adding to his position to where he owns 20% of it. And I think Warren, it's like the other thing that's in the news right now is the railroads. I'm trying to figure out how to buy into or what this strike and this settlement of the strike is going to do. And as soon as I saw that, I thought of Warren, because Warren owns basically a railroad. It's almost like he sees these things coming before any of the rest of us do. So I'm watching some railroad stocks to see what that does. But again, it's because I'm in cash. I've got a big chunk of cash. I'm looking for a place to buy, to put it. I'm going to do a video, I believe it's tomorrow, on I-bonds. You need to look for that. I think it's going to actually appear around 4 o'clock on Saturday. So the message I'm giving you here right now is the same message that I'm seeing from a lot of YouTubers, and that is China is going to fail. The Russian war is going to have an effect. But what I want to do is take it one step further and tell you what I'm buying and what I think you should buy. The other thing I think you should look at, particularly if you're an accredited investor, is go where the big money goes, and that's private equity. I've given you a look at Disruptor. I want you to go and find their app and familiarize yourself with the companies, because what's going to happen as this market goes down, the price of SpaceX is going to go down. The price of Neuralink is going to go down in the private equity markets. Their valuations are going to come down, and you need to have that Disruptor app app on your phone so that you can keep up with it, that you can go into it on a daily basis and say, what can I buy SpaceX for today? Because the market's going to have probably, I would guess, another 20% down, and that's going to be reflected in Neuralink and Disruptor or in SpaceX and in Stripe. These are the stocks that the big money is in. And understand that when the market goes down, your opportunities go down too. The other thing I'm looking for is how to invest in farmland. Our soil is going to become the richest soil in the world. We have the ability to raise crops that nobody else does, and we have the fresh water, and you'll notice I'm buying in a water conservation stock as well. These are the things that you know those you used to see these steel balls hanging from 3 steel balls hanging from a wood platform, and you pull one up and it goes bop, 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 bop. That's what's happening in the world. You can watch the evening news and you can see the bop. You got to then figure out the bop. Okay? That's what I'm here to help you with. And that's what I believe our tribe does. They're the people who give me the ideas. I'll meet with them today at 3 o'clock after the market close on a Zoom call, and we'll talk about this. And we're also going to talk about everything I learned at FinCon this last week. Okay, have a great weekend. Watch the balls. Bop, 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 bop. That's cause and effect. And I think I just showed you the CEO of FedEx and the Germans repossessing, or not repossessing, confiscating the refineries in Germany. Cause and effect. And that's how you profit in the stock market. Talk to you again tomorrow.